To remove the old dampener plate, the first one, you see you've got two holes that line up here just like the new one. You just remove these two bolts here and the old one will come off. You see the adjustment screw here is a little bit different than the one you have. We're going to send you a longer one. That way you have more adjustment, can push in further to support the rabbit target better. The lower one, you see the old pattern here, but the previous brush was. We're just going to take that loose, and the new one will not install there at all, so you'll have a couple holes there, but it shouldn't be any problem. You can wipe it off if you want, but the new one will install with this block assembly here in the two existing holes, and there's a previous block already on this one, for the one you have, that uses to adjust in with the wing nuts, and we're going to take those off. The bolts will come out. You'll have a longer set of threaded bolts here, and you can see there is a jam nut that holds this particular bolt in place. You'll also have to take these brushes off, these interior brushes on each side. Be sure when you take them off that you lay them in the specific place they came out, because they are different sizes and they will not go on. If you swap them up, they're not going to work properly. So once you've taken those two brushes off, on the plate here, the ones that serve as a guide up here on the ramp will stay. You don't need to worry about taking them off. But once you take these two off, there is a Phillips head bolt. That's this one here and this one here. You'll need a 9-degree screwdriver. If you don't have one, you can remove this bolt, and this wheel lock. You'll want to scribe a mark with either with a marker or with a scribe. That way you know it goes back on the same way, and your limit switch adjustment does not have to be changed. And the whole plate will actually pull off of here, and you can get to it from the back with a screwdriver. But once you've taken the old plate off and you've installed the new one, you've got the jam nut that holds it in place here and here. Go ahead and snug that up. You'll use the existing spring, which is compressed here about where my fingernail is. It's kind of hard to see, but there's two springs there, one here and one here on the inside of the aluminum block, and that's what will leave the tension and allow this piece to pivot. You can see it's spring loaded here. That way when the target comes off and the arm pivots around, it kicks back to where it's supposed to be. So once we've got that back on, we can put the block on and then snug up the washer and lock nuts on this assembly, and then from there we'll just have to adjust the spring tension on it. So let me grab a light so you can see this a little bit better. Okay, so we can see down in there the top and the bottom dampener plate. I'll try to set this down. There we go. We're going to index the target around. Well, we're going to drop the light first, but you can see the target drops right down in place. We'll try that again. Eric, come here. Hold this light. Right there. Target will come down the ramp. It'll hit the top plate and then seat perfectly up against the ramp. You'll notice that the target's not leaning over at all like that. If it is like this, then you'll have to adjust the screw in some more until it's situated like this. You should be able to turn the targets either way, paint side up or paint side down, and you'll just have to adjust them a little bit. One thing that will have to be done is adjusting the placement of this block on the arm, on the shaft. You already have a spacer here, but it's not really in the right place, and this may require a little bit of adjustment. To do any adjustment here, we'll need to remove the mainspring by simply backing it off and taking it loose from its bobbin, or its on the model you have, it will have like an eye bolt, and it will come out of it. Once we have done that and we're sure it won't hit anybody, then we can manually push the arm around down against the target until it rotates back up around here. And when we have a target here on the plate like this, the arm should be making near to full contact on the face of this rabbit, either way you turn it. If it's offset at all to where more than half of the target is not being covered by the rail, then there's one of two things we can do. The first thing we'd look at is to be sure that the arm, this leading edge of the arm that's closest to the plate, is not dragging or rubbing anywhere on this plate. If it is, then we'll want to adjust the plate in to a degree. Once we've done that, we can remove this spacer here and sand it down to where it's supposed to be. I'm going to go ahead and sand one down for you and send it with this package. There's also a washer here I'm going to supply and a wheel lock. And the purpose of these two items is to change it from the rabbit setting to the bird setting. And when adjusted correctly, all you should have to do, loosen these two bolts and replace the arm here with the chandelle bird arm, and then slide the entire pinch block, that's this piece here, all the way to the left up against to where there's no gap here, at which point you should be able to throw bird targets with no problem. So I'm going to supply a couple different items here, but this is just a video supplement, and if you have any questions, of course, you know how to reach us at 334-393-2843.